Hello and welcome to the second part of this series, Healing for Injured Skateboarders. In this second part, we discover what happened actually when you slammed, what happened when you take the injury, and learn from that. We then cover the part of responsibility as well as the positive intent. What I'm going to show you in rediscovering the injury is a technique from NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and it is for the intent that you could discover what has happened, you associate at a later stage into, in order to understand this experience and have the possibility to add new qualities. I invite you to try this out for yourself. It's a mental experience, also a somatic kind of experience, and as you try, you might realize some of your qualities. It could help a lot to overcome trauma, for example. I remember when I broke my ankle back in the year 2000, I couldn't wear my shoes for half a year. I was wearing blue Adeo shoes and I liked them a lot. But as they constantly remind me, on this picture I had in my head, where my shoes was hanging down from my leg, and it was kind of a slight traumatic experience, and it didn't even came to me to touch these shoes, nor wearing them for 6 months. Isn't that odd? But on this we can change the qualities, we can change the experience and reframe these. I'm going to show you a simple exploration, and for this it's also important to put ourselves into different positions. I'm going to place a chair here, and this is my present position for this experiment. I'm sit there, and in front of me I imagine a movie screen. And as I imagine this, I imagine seeing several events from my life. I could see my whole biography on this imaginary screen in front of me. Just play around and get this experience. And if you have that, step back in a position where you could observe yourself watching it, as well as watching this imaginary movie screen. So I can see myself watching, and I can see the screen. And it is kind of, let's say, a production booth. And you have all kind of cool tools like video editing software and kind of image software, and you can really play around with these sensations. So see yourself watching your life experience on a movie screen. And now let's put in the tape of our slam. Let's watch your injury. Let's watch the scene when this happened from a observing the observer position, if you like so. And if you play this around, notice what you experience. How does this sensations on the screen experience yourself doing that? And now take action. Bring in new qualities. Play the slam backwards. Change the color, make it a black and white movie, make it more blurry, make it more different, freeze certain images, put a frame on these images, experience what happens if you bring them closer and further away, change the sensations. The same with the sound. Do you hear a particular sound when you think about your slam? Do you hear voices, like self-talk or something. What if you change these voices? Make a squeezy sound of that. It's all your stage. You are up doing that. Play around and notice how does this make a difference. And now, going back into this position where you observed yourself, and while doing so, bring in these new qualities. How does it make a difference when you change the image? Are you more relaxed? Are you better? Are you feel more comfortable? By the way, a little technique on this. When you imagine this movie screen, imagine yourself sitting and have it above you. As it's better for the visual representation, it has better effects doing that so. Watch your slam again from this perspective and see how does that make a difference. And if you have done so, I invite you now to imaginary step into the movie screen and re-experience it from this position. Now go into your slam and go backwards and see how it makes a difference. What I've done now with you is a quick demonstration. It might take you more time, and you can do that for several times, and you can stay and remain and play around in each of the positions for several minutes and hours if you like. Just experience, how does that make a difference? Changing the qualities, the pictures and the voices and all this, what is called in NLP submodalities. Qualities of the visual and auditory representation systems. By changing that, you can change the experience and how you perceive them, which is a very effective procedure to overcome trauma, fear, setbacks, whatever. I go to the next point, which is the responsibility, and in this point I invite you to consider taking responsibility for what happened. You can change the slam, and people often step away from the responsibility. Someone else's fault, other circumstances, the obstacle, the tranny of the ramp, the board, whatever, but take responsibility yourself. If you take responsibility, you are under control in almost every circumstance in life, or in so many, to be correct. When it comes to the responsibility of a slam, I imagine myself when I broke my ankle in 2014. I added a lot of healing qualities we covered in the previous episode. I saw my green light. I was actually in Karlsruhe, Germany, and a friend take care of me, and the mother of my friend, she provided a quantum healing technique. And it really helped me to recover, and I had doubted whether I have even broken my ankle, because it doesn't felt that way. But actually at a certain point it didn't get better, I couldn't walk, so I have to go to the doctor and to the hospital, and I was proved so. My ankle was broken. I had a refracture of the same I have also broken 14 years prior. And I need to undergo an operation. I had 2 days to prepare myself, and I say for good reason to prepare myself. I spoke once to a chiropractic who had the opinion like you can really influence your healing, and I asked him, how does that happen if I need outside help, like from surgeons, from doctors, if I'm injured? And the answer he gave me was quite inspiring, saying the medical staff is providing services you couldn't add yourself. I really liked that, seeing the procedures in the hospital as outside services. Prior to that, I hated to go to doctors to the hospital when I'm injured from skateboarding, and this question how this happened, and seeing them, they couldn't relate to how could I hurt myself on skateboarding, and it felt almost even more pain than I had reporting that and going to the doctors. But this time I decided I make a difference. I imagined I am the project manager of my healing team. I lead this project, and the medical staff, they are part of my healing team. Yes, you hear right. Each and everyone has a responsibility or a certain task to fulfill. The surgeon provides outside services, so that's the responsibility of the surgeon who is operating my ankle. And my responsibility, my task is the inside healing. So I imagined that several times. The same what successful surgeons do. They have routines when they prepare for an operation. And so I imagined and acted as if I would have a routine. I went to the hospital, I signed the docs. I actually took it with humor when I got from a nurse a cannula, and she needed 3 tries in order to place it right. And I was very relaxed. I made sure I'm in my best state, prepared for the operation. And I even had a good choice. I was asked what kind of anesthesia I would like to have. And I got spinal anesthesia, which means I am paralyzed below my legs and I'm conscious above, which is great because I can then provide more of my inner healing resources. So I got to the operation, and there were the medical staff around me. I was lying on the ground, and it started, and I was conscious, and I imagined how I lead this project, how I manage my team who is providing the services, and I was working on my own inner game in that. I didn't tell them, because I don't want to question the authority of the doctor, I don't want to cause polarization, but what I want is being in charge, taking the responsibility. And this also kept me busy, so the level of pain I experienced, it was almost nothing. And I don't say that saying I'm a hard knock. I'm not. I take a lot of gratitude for that. But my focus, my attention goes on my task, on my role to fulfill, and I allowed that the consciousness of my legs go away, and I was quite dizzy, obviously, like in this operation, and you are not all too alerted. However, I was able to assist myself and guide myself. And the operation was like a 45-minute procedure, and after that I continued to provide my inner healing with Disney anchors we had in the previous episode. I saw my green color, and I had the sound of my Om Mani Padme Hum, which I listened for hours in the hospital. And I was 1.5 days afterwards in the hospital, and it was actually a great experience. I have to say that it felt like holidays. I have no big schedule. All I have to do is care for myself, go through that. I had humor with my roommates and the staff there. It was relaxing. I put my bed in the air up so that I could see more of the blue sky and the panoramic view in Vienna hospital where I was back then, and all that stuff. But most important, it is what I did, caring for my inner healing and taking responsibility. And I invite you in every sense, and however you could do that, to take the responsibility. And the last part of this episode is the positive intent. This might be contradictory, and you might ask, what positive intent? I got injured, what the fuck, I want to go back and go skateboarding. Right, you're very welcome. And I do believe that things happen for a reason. And I do believe there is a positive intent into everything, and it might not straightforward to understand, It might not be an easy task once you're injured. When I broke my ankle in 2014, I had an old limited belief. In the late 90s, I often got injured in August or in the late summer. And then I said to myself, I want to be free of injury the whole summer long. Guess what happened? In the year 2000, I was free of injury the whole summer long, and the last day with summer-like weather, October 15th, I had a terrible slam and fractured my ankle several times very badly. Right on the time when the summer was out of place and the autumn and the winter begin. Isn't that weird? And afterwards I said, now I can't afford to get injured anymore. I have a job now, I work now, I couldn't afford to miss a day of work because of my skateboarding. I take responsibility, and also that I'm fit and healthy and physically able, of course, at work. Guess what happened? I stayed 14 years out of any serious injuries, and I never missed a single day of work because of my skateboarding. And then in 2014, the beginning of February, I started my first own business. And 2 weeks later, I refractured my ankle. How odd is that? I had an old, outdated belief. I couldn't afford to be injured because of work. And I got injured when I was my own boss. Isn't that ridiculous? However, I have this thought, and asking for the positive intent, which is not so easy. I had a comparison between having broken my ankle twice and have two quite different experiences, how I faced it, how I faced the hospital periods, how I faced my environment, how I coped with the situation. And this learning experience led me to something bigger, like this, for example, working on healing. So whatever it is, I invite you and I challenge you to ask for the positive intent. Let me sum up on this quite longer part of this series, Healing for Injured Skateboarders. Re-experience the situation by watching yourself on a movie screen, go back into a production booth and add new qualities, figure out how that makes a difference, experience that, step into, and change how you proceed your scary, fearful, traumatic experience. Further, take responsibilities in each sense you could. See the outside circumstances as part of service you receive. And lastly, think about how this could be something positive. There could be something positive in the misery you experience. Thank you very much for watching that. The next and third part will be all about self-care and how to maintain a positive and gentle and caring relationship to yourself, and how to surround yourself with the right people and with the right activities for your inner healing. Thanks very much for watching. I wish you all the best, lots of healing, energy, vitality, and looking forward to join the next episode. If you like that, leave me a comment, share opinions, and recommend this to others who might go through a period of injuries. All the best.